start, I brought myself into K-pop. Where I used to live, which I'm not gonna drop, just obviously for personal reasons, but because if someone were to stumble upon this video and they know me, yeah. Where I used to live, pretty close to South Korea, not in South Korea. We did have like a lot of tourists and stuff like that, and like it was a big Asian community, you could say. Like it was like a lot of predominantly Asian, of some sense and of some sort. And so definitely I've more than likely listened to like a K-pop song or two, but that was when I was like 8, and then I moved to the States. And when I got into K-pop, BTS was performing at like a New Year's Jingle Ball. They performed Mic Drop and DNA. And it was also around the same time like Monsta X would be heard on the radio. So I also got into them, got into Twice, and then that's just kind of how my K-pop journey started. I had no friends to talk to about it. I knew no one. I didn't have Twitter. The only social media I had was like my dead Facebook account and my Instagram account that I don't really post on much. So it was just me. And before I get into the positives and just the overall impact of like my K-pop journey and how it has affected my mental health, I will be starting on the negatives. And I do have a list on my Google Docs. So to start, there is kind of the idea of how people see you if you are also someone who struggles with just not caring about what people think of you. I like to claim I don't, but sometimes I so obviously do. And that does include how non-K-pop stans see me. Because sometimes I just let it slip when someone asks me what I like. Sometimes I do let it slip that I listen to K-pop. And there have been mixed reactions of, oh, are you one of those people? And to this day, I couldn't tell you what that means because I don't understand. Like, are you trying to ask me if I'm like assessing? Are you trying to ask me if I'm just someone who has a lot of photo cards? You know, like what level of crazy are you trying to ask me of what I am? So that kind of does affect my mental health, just like a little, like barely brushes the surface. That is just a thing. In terms of like making friends. Sometimes, you know, people will hear that and they're like, oh, I don't think so. Like, I don't think we'll have much to talk about or something. And then I will also start to talk about the K-pop community and toxicity, with just a few things that obviously does affect not just my mental health but other people's. And this also ties with social media. For instance, Twitter. I feel like fans can be very comfortable hating an artist or group that they don't even like for no reason. And I don't think that makes them any better than those people who like come online, like those normal non-K-pop people who come online just to hate. Like there's a correlation of them doing the same thing, and it doesn't make them any better than those people who come to hate on K-pop and are just closed-minded, if you will, about it. I don't understand why you would try to spend your time hating on something that you don't like when you can spend more time when you can spend more time just enjoying the things and groups that you do like. There's also the sense of people falling out of K-pop because of people. I remember when I was a baby ARMY and I couldn't understand why people would fall out of K-pop because of the community. Because again, I didn't have access still at this time. I didn't realize how people could be, how the toxicity can be, how overwhelming it can be to really push someone out. And my own personal experience with this is I've found that out quite sadly. BTS, I claimed them as like my first really big like alt group, I guess you could say. I don't know when I fell out of them, but I do know it was because of the K-pop community. And please, a disclaimer, if you're listening to this and you are in an army, I'm not saying that like every single person is a problem. I'm not saying that at all. But if this statement personally affects you, makes you feel mad at me, please take a moment to just breathe for a second. I do not know you and you do not know me. This is my own experience. I'm glad if you have a different one and this is not you. Okay? 17 is my alt group now, so you can imagine how hard it is to be an army carrot and have, going from missing those Isaac BTS 17 interactions, and then now we're slowly getting some. But before then, for example, when Hoshi danced to I'm so sorry, I don't remember the song at all, but J-Hope was just a featured artist, but the account, okay, it was on the 17 account, only tagged Crush. And people were really mad about that because J-Hope wasn't tagged. And like, I get it, like, yeah, he was a featured artist on the thing, but like, it also like was on the 17 account. I have no idea who posted that, nor do you. Even though like it's Hoshi's dance challenge, but like still, there are multiple people that manage K-pop accounts, especially if it's not on their own account. So following that, a lot of like stuff like that, like a lot of like the army carrot stuff pushed me out just a little bit, and I still claimed myself as an army, and I was like, I'm just not going to interact with those people that think you can't stand multiple groups. Not saying that it's just armies. Okay, when I say that, I forgot to cut myself off. I'm just saying that there are people who think you should only stand one group. And there are people I've met like that in this community, okay? I'm not saying there's none anywhere else. This is my experience, again. And it's just, it was really hard because I wanted to still be in the community, but I felt like it's kind of weird. I don't know if anyone else has ever felt this. I don't know if I'm being dramatic, but it's like I couldn't let myself belong as an army anymore because it was so confusing. Because okay, we have albums called Love Yourself, we have these songs and they're preaching like, love yourself, love others, they're preaching like kindness and stuff like that. Now I'm June especially, and like just knowing BTS and 17 are friends, I don't know, sometimes it just wasn't enough for my mind to comprehend at the time to just stop paying attention to these comments and things. Moreover, fast forward to when S-Coups got exempted from the military. I don't know what situation before this happened that led to me not really calling myself an army, but I feel like the thing is, I feel like I could still be called an army because I still really love their music. They're in like Microcosmos, Magic Shop. Literally start playing those songs and within 2 seconds I'll be bawling. Like, I was supposed to see them in Dallas for Map of the Soul. COVID hit. I wanted to see those so bad. Like, those two songs got me through like a lot, just personally, because I just didn't know where I was, and I was in a relationship I wasn't happy in. But I know I was already out of the community by this point, but it was just a pushing point of this because we're comparing two different situations. And it's people who aren't Korean that were mad, and you're literally just mad at the Korean government for, not giving him the pass to go when he wanted to. And it was just so hard trying to defend someone you cared about. Like, yeah, I don't know him personally, okay? But, like, he didn't do anything wrong, is the thing. Like, an ACL tear is serious. But it was just the fact of downplaying his tear just because he's dancing. I know people with ACL tears that can still do things like that, but that doesn't mean they've never felt the pain again. Like, there's limits. So that was the thing, and that's what I mean about K-pop communities affecting my mental health. It's kind of pushed me away from the boys, which is still very heartbreaking to me because they did nothing wrong. They did absolutely nothing wrong. And I didn't think I was gonna get emotional and bring it up because I don't know. Like, I haven't listened to them as much anymore. I still do. But now, like, for instance, Euphoria came on my way home yesterday from my 14-hour shift. And, like, I thought about skipping it, but I was like, no, like, it's been a while. I want to listen to it. And I just got this sense of nostalgia. But it was like, I don't know if you've ever felt like a nostalgia that ached. Like, if you asked me years ago, before Map of the Soul, like, I just got like a cheap ticket. Like, I got it like months later because, again, I had no one to talk to, didn't even know like how concerts worked and stuff. I've never been to a concert at this time, and I just so happened to see that they were going on tour and I wanted to look. So I did that, and I if you had asked me the Dani then, like, oh, when they come back, like, what seat do you want to try to get, even though it's gonna be hella expensive, I would have said I would like to try to get a VIP or as close as possible, because it would be my first concert with them, and now I would still like to go. I would still like to be there. I would still like to hear the songs that I wish I had heard back then. And because they're still important people to me. Like Love Yourself albums. That series is like my whole existence. And guided me to where I am now, I guess. And I would just say, like, I just want to be there. I'm okay with just being like, I don't know, nosebleed, just being there at the time, or like just to be there for the nostalgia, but it's like that type of nostalgia that aches. And I do have another friend that feels this way too, and it's emotional for us when we talk about it, because we're not as, I guess you could say, we're not as crazy about them as we used to, but we still love them. So there's that. It's pushed me away in that sense that, like, I barely listen to their music anymore, which it shouldn't have to be like that because the music is what I'm in for, and them and the personalities they've showcased in their engagement with us. Like, I shouldn't have to be completely pushing myself away from them because of people I've met in the community and things I've seen. On to the next thing. I want to talk about parasocial relationships. I don't exactly have my own experience with that in K-pop. I remember being friends with this Twitch streamer. Like I was in their Discord and everything. Like we did talk a bit, okay? When I'm saying like I was friends, I'm not saying that just because. We were like quite friends, acquaintances, friends. We talked a bit, and like just that type of ideal of like Twitch friend or streamer friend or whatever, and you and having that engagement can very easily make you slip into a parasocial relationship. And sometimes you can think quite delusional but not too extremely delusional things, like I used to think, oh my god, like maybe I like this streamer, and just that sense because of like engagement back and forth, you know. I don't know how to word that. I just know that is a thing that should be talked about in terms of mental health, even though I can't personally be the one to talk about it, really. But that is a personal, there was something on my like, that is like a personal thing to talk about in terms of mental health, because you don't know these people, they don't know you, and it's kind of like having a crush on someone that you like, a school crush or something, or just, well, no, a crush in general that you don't really talk to, like you're not friends with, like on a deeper level. You pass each other briefly or something, but you have this idea of them in your head, right? Like of how they would be as, I don't know, your boyfriend or something, or even a friend. Technically parasocial relationships don't have to be just romantic, I guess. And just that, like, the parasocial relationships can be so easily formed in K-pop because of like these opportunities, like VIP perks at concerts can contribute quite a bit. I've had my own VIP experiences, but I wouldn't say I went, like I would, like there's making jokes, right? Making delulu jokes, and there's making delusional, very delusional comments. I say that lightly. It's just, how do I say this? It's just, a lot with the opportunities given to you. And then there comes fan calls. Cause you know, whenever like you have like a so-called crush on someone, and you have this image of them built in your head, it affects how you go about your day when you see them or text them. When you're constantly thinking about them, stuff like that. Fan calls especially, I feel like can give a lot. Which is not like the idol's fault. I know it's a job. But you know how it is. With that, I'm not gonna get into that too much, but I'm just trying to give examples of how that does affect someone's mental health. When you believe in those things of, oh my god, I swear they're into me. Listen, this. Sorry, I'm not like, I'm not gonna like name anyone. I'm not really even thinking of anyone. I'm just thinking of multiple like situations where I have seen parasocial relationships online. But you guys understand what I mean by that. So moving on to the next thing. Financial impact, which can also affect your mental health, especially if you're not doing well. Which ties with like the pressure of photo card collecting. And I don't collect in terms of like completing sets of photo cards or completing like an entire like comeback and such. Not even just one person. I pretty much collect what I want. Like I do admit I do have a bunch of photo cards, but I mostly just get what I want because I'm also just a multi-stan, so I cannot afford every single photo card of all my biases, and I also just like a lot of people. And again, multi-stan. I'm a very big music lover, so I don't know why I'm surprised that I like so many groups. But again, I know sometimes people can impulse buy, and I have impulse bought before, but I'm meaning situations where it's like putting it above anything else, like your needs. And that, I guess, can tie to parasocial relationships too, I believe. And when you're not in a good financial place, from personal experience, not because of K-pop, just because college and this economy, you just feel so negative, and you wonder, oh my god, like, what am I doing with myself? Like, my job's not paying me well, but it's the only thing I have right now because the job market is hard. To this day, it's still very hard. You know, I can't just get another job so easily. You got bills to pay. You're the only one supporting yourself financially, which is stressful in itself. And you know, you need to prioritize your needs first. Photo cards you can always get a different time. An album you can always get a different time, or get fake ones. And it just, like, money affects mental health. You know, I grew up in a low middle class family on both sides. My parents are divorced. So I'm constantly thinking about, like, my bills, like what I had to pay first, like, should I even, like, be spending right now? And especially, you know, when you become part-time for college and stuff, and you don't have a lot of financial help. Those albums and stuff, like, yeah, sometimes way older albums are harder to find, but surely, like, you will get it one day. And I believe people just need to put themselves first. Like, right now, I wouldn't say I've put myself in a situation where K-pop trumped my needs. Like, yes, like I've said, I have impulsively bought before, but it was more so like I'm fully aware of what stuff I have and what I should spend on and what I shouldn't be spending on in time frames. But I'm also trying to balance out and not feel guilty about what I do decide to spend on, in terms of, like, an album, as a graduation gift to myself, or for having good grades, or having a long day at work and I feel like I need a little something. I always prioritize my bills first and myself. And again, like, if you need to save money, like, just do that. But you should not subject yourself or put yourself in a place, if you can help it, to not do that, because in this economy, you know, there are people who do live paycheck to paycheck, and it's only them supporting themselves, and that's kind of currently my situation. So sometimes I do feel guilt spending on something for my enjoyment, even though, in all fairness, I've also been responsible. Now onto the positives, okay? I've met a lot of people. I did reconnect with someone, and, like, we went to a concert together. I made my buying selling account and my stan account that I have not even posted on, but will eventually, which is what I said last year. And I've just met a lot of people who are open-minded to the fact of K-pop, and they understand. So I'm not saying, like, every single person that I've had bad interactions with I've met many great people who I'm still friends with 3-4 years in a row now. I met my current best friend through K-pop, and I never thought like I'd have a best friend like this again after like leaving a 12 plus year best friend relationship. So it is possible to have like many great relationships because of K-pop. Next thing is, it has helped me through school and helped guide me towards a major that I not only enjoyed but managed to stay in without dreading the thought of next semester or unhappy with where I was, or like I felt lost. In the last major I had, it was the medical field. And as someone who grew up where I grew up, like traveling was always on my mind. Like I want to be able to travel responsibly because I don't have that type of money, but like just responsibly like visit places, especially around Asia, that I've always wanted to go to. And medical field can ask for like a lot of commitment. The field I was in, I feel like did ask for like a lot of commitment. And I brushed it off thinking like it was just that, and like I'd find a way, but my life was so unhealthy then. I was not sleeping well, and I worked a very minimum wage job where I felt like I couldn't cut my hours. I had to make sure I was getting close to full-time, if not full-time, so 35 to 40 hours, but there were times I got overtime. Sometimes I pulled doubles, just because the money was so not good. And like they'd let me study at work and I'd bring everything, but then I'd go home, study some more, and only sleep an hour before class, which is not healthy. And I was prioritizing college too much over my own health, which is crazy for, someone who wanted to be in the medical field. But in my head, it was like, oh, well, I've seen other people do it. I've seen other people struggle majoring in the medical field. And look where they are now. Like, they're doing great. And it wasn't until I was about to start the program, once I moved to the state I'm in now. I moved to the States and then I moved to a different state. By the way. I had to take 2 additional classes when I moved to this state. And so basically at the last college I went to, you had to reapply every single year if you didn't get into the program. So I transferred here because it was just one and done. But then over the summer after that semester, let's just say I was making myself very stress sick. And I thought it was just my iron deficiency. But I was very sick from stress. I show up to work, I don't look good, I don't look well, I look tired all the time. And I was always telling them like, hey, if you all can put me on something easy, or like if you need to send someone later, please send me. Like it just wasn't good. And I remember procrastinating to even apply for the program, and I couldn't understand why, or maybe I just didn't want to admit why. And just the idea of applying to it, like I felt dread, like my stomach dropped to my stomach. It was that type of dread. I felt a little sick to my stomach, like I immediately got stressed thinking about it. And in the end, I think I don't even know why I wanted that major. In my senior year, I was just looking at medical fields I could possibly get into and maybe I'd find interested in, which I technically do still find a bit interesting, but not enough where I want to major in it. So I dropped out. I never applied to the program. I called myself a dropout. Then I went to my first 17 concert. and just hearing the translator and stuff like that, like I just thought that would be a fun job. And one of my friends was like, oh hey, like you should look into it, like if you want to, like that would be fun, you know, if you wanted to. And I was just looking into it and seeing my college did have like a program geared for like that route of a job. So I switched majors to world languages, Korean. I took Chinese. I feel like I'm exposing myself so much right now, but like just by mentioning my major and stuff like that. And I want to transfer to be an Asian culture and language major to get into interpreting, translating. And mind you, when I say this, I didn't get into it like, oh, just so I can like win a fan call one day and talk to my bias, or just to understand what my bias is saying during a live, or just something like that. Like, I wanted this to be my major, and I feel like I do pretty well in languages so far with the way I'm learning it. It's pushed me to want to learn another language, and then my family's main language. Now that I have a grasp of how it was taught in my college, and that's how I like being taught, thankfully both classes were taught like kind of the same in terms of like how it was set up. I enjoyed that and it helped me a lot. So K-pop helped my mental health a lot, and like I don't feel sick, I don't feel unhappy. Last semester was rough, but like I don't dread it. Like I have no regrets, and now I have my associate's degree, which will turn into a bachelor's, and one day I will study abroad, and who knows. But I feel like it's helped gear me towards where I want to be per se, because yeah, truthfully, I don't know why I was in that last major. I thought that was what I wanted, but it's not. And if anyone ever tries to downplay you in your experience, or if you feel guilty for changing majors, it happens. There are a lot of people that go through that, and I honestly didn't think I'd be one of them. I thought I would stick to that major. But I am where I am now after switching majors, and I couldn't be any happier, especially with where I went up, and I have amazing friends. And yeah, and to sum that portion all up of positives in K-pop, you know, it's a stress relief. When I was in the medical field, I gave it no attention. I thought I didn't have any time for it. I didn't give myself any like breaks. So I didn't have that stress relief. And now, since my major is tied to Korean, and like I practice with K-pop music, or like K-dramas or shows or Chinese dramas, stuff like that. You know, lives with Chinese members. And it's like not only like helping me stay educated, like learning and stuff like that, but like it's an engagement that I enjoy outside of the classroom. And for the last portion of this, overall impact and notes, I put never forget yourself during the process of your K-pop journey. And when I say that, I mean please take care of yourself and your mental being. Please put yourself first. I know it can be very tempting and stuff to like buy X, Y, and Z photo card, join XYZ, go buy those albums really quick because the money will come back. I make jokes like that, okay? But make sure that you are prioritizing the stuff you do need first. And like, yeah, you can get a little, you know, like a little treat if you want, but you know, please think about it. Please put your stuff first. That stuff will always be there. And yes, as I've mentioned before, albums sometimes do not re-release, talking about those 80s older albums, but like there are always people selling it, you know. As someone who really likes having physical CDs, you will get it, and if not, like maybe one will pop up eventually, but just hold on, don't rush into things. Just please take care of yourself and put yourself first, because that is also what they want, as some of them have been very open about. Well, a lot of them really, not really, just some. So for instance, like Ming Hao in 17, please put your stuff first. Concerts wise, trust me, I know sometimes it sucks not being able to see anyone at all. Just hold on for the next time. I promise you that concert sadness is not being able to go on the day it happens, and maybe you're sitting at home and you're not at work to distract yourself. That sadness will pass, another tour will come, and you will see them. And if they're a group that like hasn't ever been to you or hasn't been where you are in years, you know, there are like concert ones they host, and if you can't join those, because I know there's still like concert tickets, you know, it's okay. One day maybe your time will come, and if not, that's still okay, because at the end of the day, this is the music. I'm trying to be positive, for those who don't have that opportunity to have a fan call, to see their biases, to even buy albums. Trust and just know that your support as is enough for them. Truly, at the end of the day, that is what matters. It's just your love and your support. And again, the music is what brought us into this community. Never mind the photo cards, okay? Never mind all that other stuff. That stuff is nice, but again, it can affect your mental health. Like photo cards, fan calls, just all that other very personal interaction stuff. Just remember that at the end of the day, it is the music that brings us together. And please take care of yourself. At the end of the day, you're just like them. You are also a human being. I'm not saying I'm perfect in this sense. I'm still working on things as a K-pop stan. But please, again, just take care of yourself. Don't be swayed by like other people that may have money. You know, they can do with that money as they will. You're doing the best that you can. And yeah, this is the end of my video, and I'm so sorry it's come out longer than I intended it to be.